Hi, everybody. I hope this finds you all well. Hopefully, circumstances here will start to improve as well. My test results came back, and although it was indeed serious, colitis or then toxic colon, it appears as if it was treated in time, and hopefully, it will require just one more round of medication to ensure that we are rid of all the infection, and then I'll be okay and back to normal with just the usual aches and pains related to aging and so on. And hopefully, the universe will give me and my household a break for a while, and nothing will break, nobody will get sick, the doggies will stay away from the palisade fencing, and so on and so on. All I'm asking for is 1 month, two, if possible, without drama and major expenses. As always, I know you are not here to hear about me, so let's move on to our favorite and least favorite royals. Now, I watched Prince Edward's speech in Scotland and felt like crying when he got so emotional that he stumbled and, with tears in his eyes, referred to his wife, Sophie, as a duchess. It is clear for all to see that this was authentic and that Prince Edward was not only emotional but also so honored to have his father's title. I know there is a little controversy with the fact that Charles made it a lifetime title and not an inherited one, but I have no issue with that. When Prince Philip held the title, it was indeed also a lifetime title and not a hereditary one, and that is why it reverted back to the crown when he died. At the time, the Queen could have bestowed it on Edward, but I think she was too tired, too sad, too sick, too emotional to do so, and trusted that Charles would do the right thing. And thank God he eventually did. From what I hear, Charles was not overly keen to pass the title to his brother, but the pressure became too much and he finally gave in. Anyway, because it's not an inherited title, it will revert back to the crown when Edward pass away, which is fine as far as I'm concerned, because we do not know what path James, Edward's son's life will take. The title of Duke of Edinburgh should go to a working royal, and James may not be interested when he becomes an adult. And the same applies to Charlotte and Louis. Let these kids grow up first and then decide. James, Viscount Severn, has now been passed the Earl of Wessex title by his father, which I think is very sweet. Prince Edward keeps his other Scottish title of Earl of Forfar, but as a humble man, he can't see the need for a row of titles and hence gave his Earl of Wessex to his son. The Wessex title was one he loved and was emotional about because it is what he chose when offered a few other titles at the time of his and Sophie's marriage. I honestly now only hope that Charles will also step back and hand the position of Steward of Windsor Great Park to Edward. Edward lives there full time. Edward stood in for his father when he was too sick to go out, and when he was healthy enough, the two of them would go out on the golf cart and drive all over the estate. Besides, the king has too much else to do and should concern himself way more with the social issues facing his subjects, issues like homelessness, poverty, health, etc. In a video later this week, we'll talk a little about what is happening in Windsor. the Windsor Estate and Windsor Great Park and Windsor Home Park, etc. But right now, I don't have the energy or the will to go into it all in one go or even one video. I have again been accused of all kinds of BS, and for some darn reason, I honestly don't know why or what I did or said. The abuse have again escalated slightly over the last week, week and a half, and quite frankly, I am not in the physical or mental state to deal with it right now, to have to defend the facts against deranged sycophants of the Harkles and or those sycophants of King Charles. So indeed, I have prepared all that material on Windsor already, but I will put it together in a video much later when I have the strength for it. Of course, the fallout of the announced titles for Lilibet and Archie is indeed continuing. So many of you have sent me DMs asking what I think will happen now that the children have their titles. Well, first, I want to read a tweet by Megan Kelly to you. Look at these pathetic, money-grubbing spotlight addicts. King Charles invited them to the coronation despite their mean girl betrayals. And it is, we'll have to think about it, as if they have something better to do, and as if they would ever miss the chance to see themselves on camera. Well, therein, in Megan Kelly's words, lies my answer. I think both Harry and Meghan will attend the coronation, and I think they will bring the children, and they will appear on the balcony, and I would not even be surprised if Charles has a Simba moment with Archie on the balcony, because the day of the coronation is also Archie's birthday. I predict there will be boos for the Harkles as well as for the king. But I also predict that, like before has been, will scowl and frown while Meghan flashes her latest veneers like a maniac. You see, she does not care. All she cares about is the attention, whether negative or positive attention. And those flashes of the camera is like an energy boost to her. She thrives on it. She honestly does not care what you or I or the general public feels or thinks, as long as she can dress in that Dior or whatever designer brand, regardless of how it looks on her, as long as she can wear that $62,000 ugly pinky ring, she does not care. And you know what? Neither does the king. From what I hear and am told, many people, from advisors, family members, council members, and even politicians, have advised Charles to either issue a letters patent to exclude the American children from British royal titles, or then, at the very least, to hold off on addressing it until after the coronation. Absolutely no one knows for sure how or why this happened now. One of my good sources and very reliable informants is also speculating. And he is speculating that this was orchestrated by the Harkles or Meghan in particular, and that by leaking it, that they, her and has been, are totally fine and accepting of royal titles for their children, they put the king in a difficult position so close to his coronation. Should he have dug his heels in and said no, Meghan and Harry would have jumped on the first platform and used the likes of Bosie and scabies to accuse Charles of racism. So basically, what my source is saying between the lines is that Charles likely negotiated with terrorists and gave them what they wanted. But remember, my source is speculating along with the rest of us. There are others in my DMs who are speculating that this is all part of a bigger plan, which may have derailed a little for a while, but that ultimately it had been the plan to set up an alternate royal house in America, and that it is all part of Charles's affiliation with the World Economic Forum and the New World Order, and their plan for a one world order. For me personally, I do not know for sure. I just get the feeling that the king is rewarding Harry and Meghan for their terrible behavior, rewarding them for their lies, rewarding Harry for him being a traitor to his country and to its military, rewarding them for being addicts, rewarding them for being promiscuous, rewarding Harry for being a misogynist, rewarding them both for being bullies. Had you or I done half of what Harry and Meghan had done, we would have been serving sentences in prison. Yet here they are, invited to a coronation where the one half will likely be draped in royal jewels, where they will be protected by taxpayer money, and where they will be laughing at us, being appalled and disgusted. Because, after all, while you and I are struggling to keep the roof over our heads and our electricity and heating on, they will be wearing clothing worth thousands, jewels worth millions, dining on the most exquisite cuisine while paying for none of it. Instead, they will return to the United States where they will sell interviews and photographs to magazines like The Cut and People magazine, and where they will be paid millions to recall their personal feelings and experiences on Netflix and Spotify and The Late Show. Due to their fame and titles, they will freely move drugs and drug paraphernalia through airports unchecked. And who knows, it is likely that they will now also get their IPP status back, which will not only mean that the taxpayers of every country they visit or live in will contribute to their security, but it will also mean that they will be exempt from most crimes except the most serious and egregious felonies like murder and rape, which in turn means that Samantha's case may just go away, because if they are given IPP status, they cannot be sued in a civil court or a civil matter. It will also mean that Harry's case against the Department of Home Affairs with regards to Met security while in Britain will also go away, as he will get what he wants without a verdict. So for those who so eloquently tells you or us not to get our knickers in a knot because these children got their titles, why don't you try and be a Harry and move your drugs through an airport? Why don't you go stand on a street corner and call the king a racist idiot and slander his wife the Queen Consort. I'm sure you will have fun sharing a cell with the guys who pelted the king with eggs. Enjoy your time in jail. And remember Tommy Robinson, who spent months in jail for much less while you are at it. In my book, none of this is fair or right. It sets a precedent for a lawless future where there is no accountability, and I deplore the weakness of Charles III in this instance. It is truly breaking my heart to see this cheap, filthy dishonor brought into an arena where it overshadows the good done by the likes of the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Edward, and his lovely wife, Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh. Okay, guys and girls, now that was my rant. So for now, let's step back and take a deep breath. Okay, take care of yourselves, my friends. I've sent out a number of email and DMs to my friends, relatives, previous informants containing a number of very pertinent questions. So until I start getting some valid responses, we'll continue with the daily news and my opinion on it. But for the next week at least, I'm going to try and incorporate some good news in between as my brain and mood needs urgent readjustment. And as I read through your email and DMs, I get the feeling that most of my listeners feel the same. So until we meet on the next video, please take extra special care of yourselves. Bye.